Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, performed this afternoon by Peter Griffin and his dirt bike.
Hey, this is Ryan Villapodi, and listen to DMXS Radio.
All right, guys, welcome back to DMXS. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, a special guest tonight. Won't keep you guys waiting. It's time for the man himself, Travis Pastrana. What's up, Travis?
How you been, man? It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. I only try to bug you once a year. I never do it during the holidays. And now I've realized that spring is just as crazy for you as any other day.
Yeah, honestly, holidays is probably the best time. That might be the only couple weeks, and usually get a knee replacement or a hip replacement or some kind of surgery. But made it through this year. Made it all the way, whole holiday season. My daughter was like, "If we can't go on vacation again this holiday season because you're having a knee or something, like, we're going without you."
Where'd y'all go? What'd you do?
We stayed home. It was great.
Dude.
But at least we did stuff. It was fun. We actually ended up in Dubai for a commercial. I was like, I can't go unless you bring the family. And Bentley was like, all right, we're flying the family business. It was freaking awesome.
Dude, when you're the only one, first of all, who texts me from Dubai, which was hilarious. I'm like, okay, that's no problem or whatever. But then to see your name associated with Bentley, I mean, you just never cease to continue to raise the bar and amaze me.
Yeah, my agent actually, when Bentley called, he hung up on him because he thought it was a prank.
Of course. Of course. Why
I mean, just at the end of the day, like, I've had the opportunity as, a redneck from, my dad was military, kind of blue collar, and through motocross and just making friends and trying to just do the best you can, have some fun, treat people, hopefully the way, right. I'm only doing what I do because of the crowd, because of the fans, because, even this weekend, we kicked off the U.S. championship round and freaking out front, minute and a half lead, 14 miles to go, and charged too hard, put it off into a snowbank and spent 20 minutes digging. And, I feel like anyone else would be fired, but I somehow thank you all for watching for whatever reason. It's been a hell of a ride.
Hey, I will tell you this: the actual videos you posted on Instagram had me nervous just watching. Not the spin in the ice; it was the night run through the frickin' trees at 100 miles an hour on ice. I mean that's where we made our time though, which is probably not ideal for a family man. But so what you don't realize is, when you watch Sweden WRC or something, these guys have spikes. But Michigan state law, you're not allowed to run spikes. So we have to have street legal vehicles. And we're doing as fast as the car would go. But mind you, it takes about a half mile to stop because our second pass down, we had 8 stages at night. So we did 4 stages and then 4 stages again. Yeah.
So it's a sheer... So if the road has a little bit of camber to it, we start falling off the side of the road. And if you catch a snowbank on the side, you just start spinning, which I did the next day.
Right.
But there's these jumps and my co-driver can feel like there's no, like, I'm doing everything we can just to keep it in between the
trees,
snowbanks and the trees on the side, and trying to hit the jumps at the right speed, but we can't brake because there's nothing. It doesn't do anything. So, man, we made almost a minute on that stage, and it doesn't look that cool because you can't tell it's an ice skating rink. But and then Leah Block, man, so proud of that girl. She was running second.
I saw that.
Took over the lead when I went off, and had a mechanical. Fans pushed her across the finish line, but she ended up disqualified for outside assistance trying to get back to the. But anyway, it's amazing. It's really cool to see she's doing so well.
Hey, is Ray, your co-driver, not the coolest human being? I mean, when she said she almost shit her pants through that ice, the tree section, I mean, she's flawless in her instruction. But then I love that she shows emotion too.
Well, I mean, the emotion is just in the words that she's saying, but her delivery does not change. If we're hanging a tire off a cliff, 100-foot cliff or miss a tree by a mill, she does not skip a beat, does not take a breath. She keeps reading, assuming that it's all going to work. And even as we're crashing the other day, we had snowbanks. We weren't going that fast, but she's just, as we're spinning, we're backwards at, 70 miles an hour. Heading into who knows what, because our front hood's just covered with snow. And she goes, "Oh, it's very icy there. We might be okay." It's just so calm.
Well, that you need that, because you're hilarious. You don't hide your emotions at all. You are literally just cussing every other second, just reacting to what's happening in front of you. So you need that calm voice in the cockpit.
Yeah, that's everyone. When we're going for championships and stuff, they generally yell at me for talking. They're like, "Look, the driver's job is to not speak." So it's good. She's super focused. She's super on it. But, at the same time, I realize that, my job is to get there and to make sure that people want to see rally and to build the sport and to try to, I dropped down a class and we were leading this last rally only because it's snow and ice and power. Nothing really matters. So we were able to win on notes. And, we put a lot of work and dedication, more than, anyone would know. I mean, not to jump on a millionth tangent already in like 2 minutes into this, but a lot of people hating on Deegan right now.
Yeah.
But you watch that kid. I mean, he's talking all this crap, and obviously Brian and I have had our moments in the past for sure. But you have to respect the fact that every single person on that track wants to knock him down, and he's able to somehow get through the gauntlet almost every time. And when he gets to the finish line, dude, I know how hard it is to race Supercross. It is, in my opinion, way more difficult physically than motocross. And they're running longer races on faster bikes than we rode. And he gets to the end of those races, and the work that he puts in, it shows, because that kid, he's hardly even breathing. Even when he's running through the pack,
he's not even sweating.
The amount of work that he puts in is relevant. And sorry, it was a tangent, but what I'm saying is we can laugh and talk on stage more than most, and we can go sign autographs and we can do that kind of stuff because the amount of preparation that Ree puts in beforehand and the amount of hours. I mean, honestly, my kids, my oldest daughter, she's like, I was like, "Annie, do you work a little harder?" She's like, "I don't want to be great at anything." And I almost fell off the couch. I'm like, "You're not my daughter."
Wow.
She's like, "Everyone around here," I'm like, "There's Olympians, there's this, there's that." She's like, "And they all work so hard. None of them have a life." And I thought about it. I was like,
she's right.
Huh. I'm like, "But the work's fun." She's like, "And you guys are always hurt all the time." She's like, "Look, I want to just have fun at sport. I want to do rec where I can just win and not have to put in the work and then go have fun with my friends." And it made me kind of take a step back. But anyway, sorry.
You know what? That is actually a very, very mature, objective observation, where she looks around the surroundings and sees what it takes. That everybody just sees the 2 hours or 3 hours on Saturday night. That really is, the discipline. You have to enjoy the hurt.
But I enjoy that so much. That's why, I didn't know. Like, I went completely silent. It took me 2 days before I kind of brought it up to my wife, Lindsay, who's also just super competitive.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wait, what just happened?" All of this that we were thinking we're helping her to see what it takes to succeed is kind of almost backfired a little bit.
Hey, well,
that's good.
When Jeremy told me about the errors with you in the 500 at your house with Carson and Ken, I was worried at the time, because I told him, I said, I'm afraid he won't know how to back down. And I said, he's a legend, but he's old, and Kenny's damn near leading the 450 Supercross points. Carson is the most adaptable rider on the planet, and they throw you in there with an ego and not wanting to lose a bet. I was worried about you.
Yeah, my wife was like, "Do not get on that bike." And I was like, come on, it's the track, dude. Hubert had the track so good. It's the best my house has ever looked, other than I didn't think you were going to be able to do half the jumps. And honestly, on my 252 stroke, the reason I didn't enter the 250 is because I couldn't, my corner speed wasn't fast enough to make the jump.
Okay.
So my goal to Hubert, I said, "Look, take out all the ruts every chance you can get." And Roxanne's like, "Man, there's the track's so perfect, but there's nothing to separate anybody. I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
And then all the jumps you had to hit as hard as you possibly could. So these guys couldn't scrub the jumps. Well, they could scrub a couple of them, but for the most part, I'm like, I've taken the scrub out of it. I've taken my non-riding, like, you know, when you don't ride for a little bit, ruts are tough. You kind of don't have your balance. So, you know, I haven't really ridden since my knee replacement. I've ridden, you know, a couple of times. I ride some pit bikes. I ride with when the kids are riding and stuff and hair scrambles. But God, you were 100% right. Roxon took off and I'm like, I've never seen the bike go that fast. And then, dude, Carson, anyone that, if you haven't seen the eras, Roxon made the 500 go faster than I've ever seen. And it was the same speed as Carson, but Carson looked like he was just this animated character riding a beast. I was shifting down to make it sound like it was cool going through corners. They were shifting up 2 gears and just letting her eat.
Yeah.
So I went out there, I did my 1 lap, like fully groomed course, had it groomed while they were like, all my friends were working on taking all the ruts out as those guys went to eat lunch. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to set 1 lap. Yeah. And I had arm pump halfway through the lap.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is, because I knew places that I could pick it up. I'm like, man, I could probably make, I'd say 2 to 3 seconds I can cut off there. And then I looked at their times and they were 5 seconds faster. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I could be a little closer to these guys, but I'm not going to potentially die for to not actually win anything. So yeah, I'm old.
Hey, but here's the thing: the Armzilla was just a legend. I mean, I was calling, Kevin and I were calling the race at Red Bull at Straight Rhythm when you backflipped over us on the finish line, and that bike is a legend. That poor thing needs to be put out to pasture. It has never in its life hit RPMs like that. I mean, I don't think Bailey and Wardy did RPMs like that on a 500.
No, and you know, ironically, I was talking to Jeremy McGrath this morning. Which I don't get to talk to the King very often, but talking about a potential hole shot challenge, trying to get Bradshaw and all the guys. But anyway, that's Moto 90. It's going to be great. Check out the movie when it comes out. But I was talking to Jeremy, and he was talking about the same thing. He's like, dude, I watched that with Kenny, and he goes, I don't think I've ever seen anyone ride a bike that fast. And I told him the same thing about Carson. I'm like, dude, that guy, he didn't care. For 1 lap, Jeremy is right. Sorry, Malat Hammer is right.
Yeah, Hammer.
Like, there's pretty much no one that can keep up with him because he's willing to do whatever it took. I mean, no money on the line, nothing on the line, just pride and to see if he can do it.
Great
and
point.
I've never seen anyone hit some corners and some flatland, some stuff on a 500 like that. But back to the King, Jeremy McGrath. He goes, yeah, everyone says the 500's fast, and he's got a KX, like a 93 KX or something, and he goes, it's nothing compared to the 450. He's like, I mean, compared to a stock 450, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But he goes, the factory 450 that these guys ride now is absolutely, it's a 500, but it's not just that hit. It's 500 if 3 gears was one.
Off the pipe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, you can run a stock 450, and if you need more power, you're special.
Sure.
In all the right ways, because it's amazing.
Well, that's what's scary. But the thing about the 2-stroke is you have to ride it differently. It has that narrow, that narrow power, and keeping it on the pipe. And that last scene of the video, which Wes did a great job of Kenny with the sweeper out of the whoops into the sweeper. That was the pinnacle of a 500 commercial, because that was it RPM skimming the whoops and then a sweeper. I mean, it was just music to my ears and to my eyes.
So they were going through the whoops in third, and Roxon shifted up to fourth. Like, you can hear the bike just like that grunt, that torque that a 500 has. And the only time that he came off the gas going through a whoop section as fast as the bike would go was to shift up to go into a corner. Dude, man.
And Jeremy told me that uphill triple was so much more sketchy in person than you couldn't depict that on video. And how narrow the track was, and Carson clipping his pinky and his hand on the dirt and ripping it. I mean, there was no margin. I saw the drone hit the trees a couple times. The drone couldn't even keep up with the 500.
Yeah, it's the Californian boys, whenever they came over to train and ride, they didn't like it because it is a lot wider now than when I was racing pro. It's every year we kind of get a little the equipment gets bigger, the trails get wider and a little bit bigger, but we had to cut down so many limbs. And we actually, luckily, our friend Troy Smalls, who comes over quite a bit, that's what he does, other than when he's riding the MX of Nations for the pit bike or the pit bike championships. He does trees. So he was climbing all of these trees to where they couldn't even support him, trying to cut down these limbs because Hubert I told him to build the jumps as big as he thought was possible. And Roxon was scared. I was like, I'm not doing it. And our local front flip hero, Greg Duffy, was like, hell no.
Wow.
And then Carson, he just looks at it, he goes, I think it'll work. Didn't even take a test. He just launched everything on lap one. We're like, well, I guess we're doing it.
That is so, and then 0.2 of a second, decide the winner, which was, I mean, we need a transponder on that next time.
No, two hundredths
of a second. That's what I meant.
200ths of a second.
0.02. Yeah.
I still want to, I have both of the helmet cams. I want to go back and make sure that there's, because both of them had that Carson had won by 2 100ths, which was good, but both of their times were like 1/10 of a second off each other that their fingers had pushed. So I'm not saying that, Roxon, gosh, I bet on him every weekend. He's such an awesome human. He's at the pinnacle of his career right now after so many injuries and everything, and is taking his family. Now he's down there today. He's in Orlando testing cars. Like he's having the best time of his life. Good. He's being the best husband, the best father, and he's still somehow figuring out a way to be in the best shape and just a fun dude. Like anyway, so
how about him? How about him on the podium saying if a dog didn't stop and take a shit, it would have caught the rabbit? That is legendary stuff right there.
So I actually, I got that quote. I don't want to say what it's Kenny's going to get something in the mail, but
okay.
I almost had Hammer made up a helmet with that on it. Oh. And I was trying to bribe him to just make the helmet and have him race it the next weekend. But Kenny's like, no, he's like, my teammate's awesome. It was just frustrating in that moment.
Yeah.
So that was a shame. But.
Yeah, Kenny, and this is, watching his career and him riding a 10, 12, 15-year-old bike and, what he's doing and how he's looking and all that stuff. I think you said it right. He just looks happy in life. You can just tell it transcends and it shows on the track that where he is in life is maybe the best part of his career as opposed to, all of his other championships and factory rides and top of the world.
I mean, that's when you look at where my career went. You look at, Carson Brown, who had a ride that could have, and so many people will look at Carson and go, you can ride this fast. Why aren't you riding every Supercross? Why aren't you doing this? And I go back to when I was 16 years old, at the time, James was younger the next year, or 2 years later, but I was the youngest person to ever win outdoor national championship, youngest person to represent the U.S. We won Motocross of Nations with Carmichael and Rhino. And at that moment, flying back from Saint-Angeli, France, I was the loneliest, the most broken, the most hurt person that I've ever been in my life. And not to say that's why motocross is so great, because it is the toughest sport I feel like on the face of the earth. They can say soccer is more physical, but you do not get broken that way in soccer. You don't put your life on the line. You don't take the risk that you take in moto. And they do it week in and week out with all these races. I'm like, dude, when's the off season? When do you get surgery? It's amazing that the guys can keep that up, and the training just has to be that much more, and et cetera. But I look at someone, like Carson, and I'm like, man, he's doing it right because he's loving riding motorcycles, and he's found a way to have fun. And like even Brian Deegan, I haven't agreed with everything that he's done across the way, but he's found a way to still. That maybe, and his kids and everything else and whatever, but he's found a way to make a living in motorcycles for this long. And when I see someone like Kenny, who is still having fun, who still loves riding, who still loves working, who loves every part of it, and he's winning at an age that's older than any Supercross champion's ever been, he's found something that I don't believe anyone has ever found before. I mean, Jeff Stanton, at 23 years old, he was so burnt out. He retired, I think at 23 or 24.
Look at Villapoto and Dungy. These guys all left when they were burnt out. I mean, they literally were not having fun anymore. And to see people, and even like Tomac. I mean, Tomac to me is a bar setter too. He comes back, changes OEMs. I mean, he did great on Kawasaki, Yamaha, and then the KTM. I mean, he's the guy that you can tell just still loves this too. To see him smile on the podium is so neat, because you watch Villapoto the last 2 years that he raced, even on the podium, he didn't smile.
Yeah, Villapoto, after he came back from Europe, he came over to the house to drive some side-by-sides and just kind of have fun. And I started talking moto because I had gone through my kind of burnt out, didn't want to see it for a couple of years and came back. And now I'm that Monday morning quarterback talking crap with all my friends, and we all get together and barbecue, and the kids ride, when it's not snow on the ground like this year for whatever reason, but the kids are on their electric bikes and they can ride wherever in the neighborhood because no one, it's not loud and whatever. I'm a huge fan of everything that's happening in the sport, but I brought up motorcycles and stuff, and Villapoto just completely zoned out. And then fast forward 2 years, and he's one of the most passionate motorcycle enthusiasts in the world. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of a reset, but I haven't found many people that have made it as long as Kenny is through the injuries that he's had. Yeah. And, even everyone says, oh, the Suzuki's not as good, but the bikes are all so close. But Kenny needed another challenge. He needed something, I don't know, maybe not an excuse, but something to be like, okay, well, maybe if I can just get this onto the podium. Sure. I think that almost got him where he has all these things and reasons why he shouldn't be there, and it just makes him stronger and makes it just so he's like, yeah. I remember when I got my last podium I ever got was a second place, and I threw the trophy in the stands. I'm like, I went to Lee McCullum, my mechanic. I was like, never again. We're winning the next one. But never again. I never got another podium. So be thankful for the moments you get,
Oh, and I think that's what Kenny's realizing. I think he quoted this week that each one's sweeter and sweeter as he gets older. I remember Chad Reed, on the show talking about that. He's like, man, I wish I would have known that when my last win was, because you never know.
Oh, that's for sure. And it's hell. It's hard to pull yourself away from how physically hurt, how physically tired, how physically sick you are when you're at the top, and how much you want to win, and when things aren't going right, and when you're not winning, no matter how hard you're working, everyone's pointing fingers and saying you're doing something wrong. And it's very, very difficult. Especially for a lot of these guys that are younger, but you don't, when you get to my age, and I'm very fortunate to be able to still put myself in these horrible situations in all kinds of vehicles. But now I line up to the starting line instead of thinking of excuses and thinking of, anxiety and everything. I just line up and I'm like, I am so thankful and so appreciative to be here. Yeah. And this ride, I don't know why it's kept going. The wheels have fallen off so many times, but the train keeps moving, and it makes me so happy every chance that I have to run these races. So sorry, I'm bad on tangents. The ADHD kind of kicks in. But,
this is good. Hey, let me ask you this: if you stayed in racing, let's just say your career stayed, two wheels only, no freestyle, no nothing, how long would you have lasted, Travis?
The interesting part was, Gary Bailey was my riding coach.
Remember? Yeah.
And spent a lot of time with Gary. And and my dad, Marine, military, if you slept past 7 a.m. on a weekend, you were a lazy
piece of shit.
Pile of crap. Kind of. Yeah, exactly. That's what you said. And so I was staying at Wyndham's when I was 17, and I'd wake him up every morning, at 7 a.m. And Dottie's like, "What are you doing?" And for me, I was like, "I'm getting up early because that's what you're supposed to do." But I was asleep every night at 9. Yeah. So when I'd come around to the races and Supercross, that's when you're supposed to be. So I messed up a lot of things trying to work, harder, I guess, at that.
Yeah.
But,
so do you think you think you'd have been like a Villapoto and bailed out? Or, would you have been in your late 20s and retired? Would you have been that guy if you stayed in racing only?
Yeah, I would have been earlier than that. I probably would have been like a Jeff Stanton. But I was never that successful because, and kind of what I was getting at, so Gary Bailey, his son, David, was paralyzed, obviously on the top of his game, and he started training and needed a trainer for Ironman. And he went and he ended up, his first year at Ironman was just a disaster, but almost killed himself, literally pushed that hard. And Todd Jacobs
I remember.
was his trainer. And I pushed myself through being sick and being like, no, I got to keep training and riding, and got, Epstein Barr, and it was just, I think Parvo, because all the cow poop on Castillo Ranch, and I was, riding mountain bikes on it and evidently ingested some of it. And I was falling, tonsillitis, chronic sinusitis. I was just falling apart and didn't quit until I kind of had to, I guess. But Todd was like, all right, we're going to do this by the book. He's like, every champion they leave breadcrumbs. And like, this is what Carmichael's doing. This is what Alden Baker's doing. This is what it takes to be a champion. And when we took away the fun stuff, like, because I would do everything that everyone else was doing, and then I would go free ride, or I would be like at Wyndham's house, and we'd go find a transfer or a side jump, or we'd be at Heath Voss's house, and he'd get the dozer out after we're done, and we just build jumps and we play around.
Yeah.
Or you try to wheelie over something or tire tap the whoops. And when I did everything by the book, like Carmichael, every single lap from lap 1 was on the clock, and you're putting in a crap load of laps, but my speed went away. My fitness was higher, but my wins were, less crashing, but less speed. What made me
who you were,
good, or who I was, better answer, was that I didn't know that I could back down. I was like, what's it going to take to win? And you can always find it. You can always shift up a gear and wheelie more whoops. You're not going to make it every lap, but you can do it. You can jump to flat. Like, if you look at the era of Stewart and Carmichael, Carmichael wasn't as fast as Stewart, but he found ways to just go faster. And that's what I've always been able to do. And by training every single day, it taught me that you could settle. And I was the slowest I've ever been.
Wow.
And then I was even more depressed than ever, because not depressed, but I'm like, I'm training so hard and I'm having worse results.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting, I don't think I could have ever been a Supercross champion in the 450s, because the way that I was able to win championships was by taking more risk than other people were willing to. And I did it because I love the sport. But if I trained hard enough to do what they were doing, I didn't love it enough to take those risks.
Yeah, the microcosm of your career is Tedesco and you at Daytona and the Whoops. That's your that is your career in a capsule.
So for anyone that doesn't know about that, I came back to race just kind of a one-off race, and I ended up getting the flu for the 2 weeks before that race, which was horrible. So I gave myself 6 weeks to get in shape, and the first 2 weeks I was pretty much hurt and broken and getting blisters, and then the last 2 weeks I had the flu because I was overtraining.
Right.
So I show up with no chance in hell, but luckily they had this whoop section, so you landed this triple, and just you could go as fast in the whoops as you wanted to.
And they were huge. They were huge.
They were huge. It was great. So I could make up like 3 seconds a lap in the whoops, and then finally on the next last lap. So I'd pass Tedesco in the whoops. He would pass me back. He would pull away, and then I'd pass him back in the whoops. Yep. And I ended up flipping over, and I had a concussion 2 weeks before that on a monster truck, and I had a concussion 2 weeks before the monster truck, actually in a rally car. And I barely tapped my head. I mean, not barely tapped. I crashed in the whoops, but I didn't get knocked out. I staggered to my feet according to the video, and then I started throwing up, and I was throwing up for the next 2 months after that. So that was kind of that was the end of my career, really.
Hey, well,
it was the end of my comeback anyway.
But speaking of Daytona, you're going back to race on the track at the Daytona week. Tell us about that with Cletus McFarland and this crazy truck shit you're doing.
So I'm actually just pulled up Daytona right now.
Okay.
I'm sitting in I got my Vicious RV double wide motorhome, and everybody else, their vehicles. I'm definitely not compensating for anything.
Right. Oh,
there's 4 of us staying. We got 3 beds and a couch that folds out.
Nice.
In this thing. Everyone else got the buses, but no, that's the beauty of it is I had an opportunity thanks to Al Neese. He's a Marine, and he started a truck Neese Motorsports, and their first race, they didn't really have anyone that was getting in trucks, that was buying their trucks. And I was like, oh, not buying, but getting a race out of it. So I was like, sure, dude, I'll do a race. That'd be awesome. And the crew chief was my car chief. He was a young up and coming mechanic at Roush Fenway. So I came back and I did pretty bad, but I think we qualified like 11th, ended up 14th or something. And Ross Chastain saw that me, who's not a great pavement or rear wheel drive driver, was able to do pretty well with their equipment. He jumps in, almost wins in the truck championship, and goes on to be one of the best NASCAR drivers. But they kicked off their whole program that way. Now, Nice Motorsports they have 2 full-time drivers, and they have 3 extra trucks that they're running. So I was down in the Freedom 500 last year, and Biffle was there, and Cletus was like, dude, I want to race the Daytona 500 one day. And I talked to the guys at Nice, and they said, dude, 100%. You know what? If you guys both come in, and Black Rifle jumped on board, and they said, we're going to donate $100,000. We'll run you guys, and we'll donate $100,000 to the boot campaign to help veterans.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was it's a really cool full circle kind of moment. And then Brunt Boots also is jumping on 100% with my stuff. And if you wear boots, or Brunt Workwear actually they make great everything. We actually found out about it through Hubert, who was wearing them, and they saw we were all wearing the Brunt stuff, and Brunt reached out and started helping us send down welders and all kinds of stuff for what we're doing. So anyway, just a long story on that. I am here where I am because of the opportunities from motocross, and honestly, because of the fans and everybody continuing to support all these stupid shenanigans that we do. And yes, am I good at NASCAR? Absolutely not. But I believe for Daytona, it's a restrictor plate race. Tony Stewart's jumping back in. He's a friend. We got Stenhouse, my crash that took out the whole field on the next to last lap of the Daytona 500, won in the Daytona 500. He's on Nice Motorsports this year. I'm like, dude, I got you the 500. If you just shake and bake, give me a little push through this one.
Yeah,
we got
engage.
Yeah. And Cleet, we came down here. NASCAR wanted to see if he could drive, so we brought the Crown Vics to Daytona, and we ran Crown Vics as fast as they would go. And as easy as it is to run a Crown Vic around here wide open, I was pushing and shoving and bumping, basically trying to spin Cletus, and that guy held the line. So I made a lot of fun of YouTubers along the way, but Cletus is a driver. He's
How
a
did
real
he
man.
qualify, though? How did he
doesn't
actually
have any experience in these cars, but I think we're going to do just fine.
What did he do? Like a time qualifier at Rockingham? How did he actually qualify to get a license to drive at the truck race?
Well, I mean, he runs
I know,
oval track. I mean, the Freedom Factory, and he has more time driving in circles and all these different vehicles. Like, he entered an airplane race and won it. And he flew a helicopter with Biffle into the hurricane. He just went online and was like, to his Instagram and said, "Hey,
let's do it.
I need some volunteers that are skilled in life saving. Let's go." And the guys are they're literally even kind of showing me again what it's like to have fun. Yeah. So, God rest the Biffles. Legend unfortunately passed away just a few months ago. But Cletus almost pulled out of this race, and he said, "You know what, Biffle, he was helping me get to the 500. He's like, we're going." So to answer your question,
he's a racer.
He's a racer, and NASCAR needed to see him in a truck, because you're not supposed to run your first ever truck race or Xfinity race or Cup race at Daytona. And they do that so they can have hopefully less crashes, less chaos.
Yeah.
But when he got on the course, Ross Chastain was in the same truck, and he was about 4/10 off of Ross. Now 4/10 in NASCAR is there's a lot of drivers that are the top right in there. But 4/10 is a phenomenal first run in a truck. In a truck you've never driven against a field. Cup, someone that's been racing for Cup championships the last couple of years. So I'm excited. And not to keep talking, but the coolest part about this whole program, like I said, is Smoke, Tony Stewart, jump back in when he's figuring this work coming. And then we got even guys that aren't on our team, Carson Hosever, good friends with Cletus. They won the 2.4 hours La Mullets at the Freedom Factory. And Cletus is just such a fun dude that has so many friends. I'd imagine we'll start out just kind of cruising in the back, and hopefully we'll get a couple of the top best drivers in the world to jump in with us. And we'll see if we can make a run at this thing.
That's going to be fun. And I follow him on the YouTube as well. And even your stuff you did with on Instagram and just getting ready for this stuff is just, I can't wait. I mean, the Crown Vics, I thought that was all just staged. You really were ramming him to spin him.
No, I wasn't trying to spin him, but I'm like, I'm going to make some mistakes, and I want to see if you're someone that I can push, or if we're going to take out the entire field.
Yeah, if we're going to take out
and
the
he was, because, the other guys that were there were, they're good drivers, but, even kind of by themselves, there's, you get pushed by the wind, you move up, you move down, it's hard to hold your line, that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to see how calm, cool, and he just has fun. And to win a restrictor plate race, it takes a lot of luck, but when shit hits the fan, you gotta be just on it. And I think Cletus is going to do great.
Okay. Hey, my last question, I'll let you get to Daytona week, but you brought up Hayden Deegan earlier. I want to get everybody on the record of how he's going to do on a 450 in his rookie year.
Honestly, I think he's going to do great.
Okay.
He's said some stuff that it's going to be tough to keep the mouth going the way that he's doing. His dad was fine with it. It worked. And I like it. I think because everyone I talk to, they bring up Hayden. It's either Hayden or Jet, and Hayden, they either hate him or they love him. And you know what? It's brought so many people and so many fans that wouldn't normally care about the race, even if they're watching to see him lose. But again, I go back to the amount that the preparation that he has to do. When you talk that much crap and everyone wants to take you out and you're not getting taken out, that you're still the one that's able to position yourself around. Now, he's not going to be able to do that as well in the 450s.
Sure.
Most people that jump into the 450s, like it's a lot faster. It's more physical. The riders are more experienced. You're not going to get away with a lot of the stuff that he's doing. Having said that, and again, I agree with Jason Thomas. If he can get his starts perfected a little bit, which he's done great, and he can get through the whoops, which he's done great, I don't see any reason that Hayden couldn't go out and win in his first year. And another reason I say that is because he's always and Brian did a good job, held him back long enough.
One extra half a year, yep.
Even since he was on 80s, everyone's like, oh man, or 60s. They're like, oh, why is he in that class? Oh, he's going to get worked when he goes up. But he had confidence that he was going to win every single time. And at the end of the day, and this sounds horrible, but there's some people that figure out a way to win, and there's some people that figure out a way to lose. Love him or hate him, he figures out a way to win.
Will he stop and shoot pretend arrows at Jet if he beats him like he did Levi last week?
I think, and honestly, Levi's ride last week was fantastic. That was inspired. I just hope he can get through that first turn. It's almost I'm just a Monday morning quarterback. I don't even know Levi, to be perfectly honest, but off the tracker from what I see, but he definitely has the skill to be there. If he can get he needs to get, he's great.
Levi needs to be a dog. He's not a dog. He's got the speed, but coming up, he needs, and I think, that little stuff with Hayden push it back. I mean, Hayden's got him beat mentally and on the track. I mean, I think that it's not his personality to be like Hayden, whatever, but Levi's got the speed. It showed even in the main event. He had faster lap times than Hayden, like half the race. I mean, the dude's got it.
He came through the pack and was turning fast.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But okay, and now Hayden, how hard was he pushing out front? Look, there's a million different things, and I'm just Monday morning quarterbacking this. But I think Hayden almost, because I'm just going to go back to me to reference only because it's the only thing that I know for sure, and that is Chad Reed was a complete asshole, and he kicked me when I was down as much as he could, and that inspired me to be better. Nice. And Chad did it because he wanted his competition to be the best they could be. And I kind of feel like Deegan's doing that. And, it's so much easier to go out and give everything you have plus some when you really hate your opponent.
That's awesome.
And Deegan is making it easy for his opponents not to like him. And I hope that you can see Levi not back down from that, but step up and half of my friends are just waiting for the time that Levi finds that speed early, gets out to the start, and just
whips his ass. Yeah.
Just freaking not off the track, but on the track, just knocks them into the cheap seats.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think he can do it. But again, you know, time will tell.
Well, we're going to leave it on that. I know you got a busy week ahead, man. Thanks for catching up. Good luck with the rally and Daytona and just everything. And like I said, our tradition from 20 plus years of once a year to have you on. Thank you for this, Travis. I know how busy you are, and it means a lot to us, your little Atlanta fan club down here at DMXS, that you always find time for us, brother.
Hey, well, thanks. We still got to, we got to do that drift competition. I've been getting more and more practice. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I'm better than when we first talked about it.
You think?
You got a shot.
The only way I have a shot is if you oversleep that day. But hey, I'm not going to back down. If it happens, I'm going to give it my best.
Heck yeah, David. All right, well, hey, thanks for the call, or thanks for talking, and definitely check out Daytona if you're bored on Friday night. It's going to be. I'm not saying we're going to do great, but it's going to be entertaining.
It's going to be entertaining. It'll be memorable. All right, thanks, Travis. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right.
Good night. All right, there we go. Travis Pastrana. Just wrapped up with him. It's another amazing interview with that guy racing a rally car. He's racing Daytona, a truck race on Friday night. He's got he just went to Dubai for Bentley to drift their Bentleys around Dubai. So, what an amazing guy, amazing interview. Just smiles ear to ear every time I talk to that guy. So appreciate that stuff, and thank our sponsors to make all this possible as always. Racer X and MX Sports, W Wheels, W Lab, OGO Concept 2 rowers, and of course Dunlop tires have been with us from the beginning as well. So thanks guys for hanging on. I know this, DMXS, we barely do shows anymore, and just kind of as a hobby to continue to do this. So thanks if you're listening all the way through, supporting this. We appreciate that support all the way through as always. So DMXS, we're back when we're back.
Nick Way from DeWitt, and you're listening to DMXS Radio.
Get ready, America, because WUSA is your #1 source for quality wheel sets in America. WUSA offers all the top brands that you and the world's best racers know and trust, like Reed, Dungey, Millsaps, Tickle, Sealy, Short, and more. All rely and trust WUSA, because all our wheels are built right in our shop in Orange, California. And if you want it custom made for your bike, like the world's best freestyle riders, Renner, Deegan, Adams, Madison, Mason, Sherwood, and others, you can choose different spoke and nipple colors for a completely custom look that'll dazzle you. Off-road riding, WUSA can build you wheels for the absolute toughest of conditions. And W also offers DID and Excel rims, along with OEM replacement spoke and nipple kits for your stock hubs. Need brakes? W offers the industry's best oversized and standard brake kits from Galfer and Brembo. Just see your local dealer or visit us at WUSA.com. Hey, you can also download the most current W catalog from the iTunes App Store. WUSA, DUBYA USA. It doesn't get any better than us.
You listen to us because we are motorcycle guys. You might even call us gurus. We are awesome.
I've been called a lot worse than that, Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, we're the guys. We know everything. I know everything about you. I know everything about movies. I know everything about the space shuttle launches and the crashes. Everything.
And because you turn to us for motorcycle knowledge, we only tell you about what's the best, Kevin, because our spotless reputation that we've built for 16 years is on the line. That's why.
Yeah, and I would not risk my crappy reputation on just anybody. That's why we are telling you about Dunlop tires. It's what we have on our bikes. I have a fleet of motorcycles, and they all have fresh, crispy Dunlops on them. If the pros have them, you know us amateurs are going to have them. They're good enough for them. They got to think they're good enough for us dorks.
Too good for Dunlops, you're a tire snob. We want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, good luck with that. But not just the pros use them. Everyday riders agree, and they have the testing to back it up. You can't beat the quality of Dunlop motorcycle tires.
Let's wrap this bad boy up, Kevin. Whether you're on the dirt, the road, or the track, you can depend on Dunlop. To learn more about their products, visit DunlopMotorcycleTires.com or your local pro dealer. The amateur guys are working their way up. Go to a Dunlop pro dealer. Check them out. We love them. You will too.
It's the cry of the lion, the burning in your soul. And it's the feeling that you get when your back's against